Have you ever gotten an injury and just wondered, how on earth does your doctor or therapist figure out exactly what's wrong? It can feel like a total mystery. Well, today, we're going to pull back that curtain. We're breaking down how a clinician basically becomes a detective to solve the case of your injury. So, picture this. You're out playing a sport, maybe you're at the gym, or you literally just step off a curb the wrong way. 1 second, everything's fine, and the next, something just goes. All of a sudden, you're left with this pain and a giant question mark hanging over your head. And that's it. The mystery has officially begun. And this is our crime scene. Something has definitely happened, but the culprit, the specific bit of you that's been damaged, is still at large. The only clue you have right now is the main symptom, pain. And that's exactly where the investigation kicks off. So how do they do it? What's the secret? It's for sure not just guesswork. There's a systematic procedure they follow, a framework that lets them gather all the clues, analyze the evidence, and ultimately crack the case. It's a method that turns all that chaos into clarity. And that method is called SOAP. This is the absolute bedrock, the fundamental framework for any good orthopedic investigation. You should think of it as the detective's official procedure for collecting and organizing every single piece of the puzzle. SOAP is just an acronym. It stands for Subjective, Objective, Assessment, and Plan. Each one of those letters represents a really critical phase of the investigation. It's just a logical flow that takes the clinician from your first story all the way to a solid plan for getting you better. And yeah, just to be super clear, we are definitely not talking about this kind of soap. Although, good hygiene is always a plus. This soap is all about getting a crystal clear picture of what happened, why it happened, and what we're going to do to fix it. So the whole process starts with S for subjective. This is the interview phase. This is where the clinician gathers all the verbal clues from the one and only witness to the incident, you. In this whole investigation, your story is the single most important piece of evidence. And this is where the clinician really has to put on their detective hat. It's not just about listening, it's about getting into that Sherlock Holmes mindset, constantly asking why, to dig deeper and deeper to get to the absolute root of the problem. So the interrogation begins with a series of really important questions. What happened helps figure out the mechanism of the injury, the how. But asking, what does the pain feel like? Now that starts to identify the type of tissue that might be involved. Every single answer is a crucial clue that helps narrow down the list of potential culprits. And this brings us to a really key insight. Pain isn't just a sensation, it's a language. Your body uses different types of pain to send very specific signals about what's going on. And a good detective knows exactly how to translate this language. Think of this as the official translation guide. If you describe your pain as shooting and burning, ding, 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 the detective immediately suspects a nerve is involved. We call that radicular pain. But if you say it's more of a deep, dull ache, then they start looking at muscles or ligaments. That's known as sclerotomic pain. The specific words you use are a direct pointer to the problem. Now, to make these clues even more useful, clinicians have to quantify them. They use tools like these pain scales to turn your subjective feeling into objective data. A 7 out of 10 is a concrete piece of evidence that they can actually track over time to see if the plan is working. It's pretty smart. Okay, so with all the verbal clues gathered, the detective moves to the next phase. O, for objective. This is the forensic analysis part. It's time to get hands-on and collect physical, measurable evidence directly from the crime scene, which is your body. And this is the detective's toolkit. They'll start by just observing how you move. Then they use palpation, which is just a fancy word for touch, to investigate the area. Then come the really critical tests, assessing your motion, screening your nerves, and doing specific tests designed to gently stress a structure to see if it reproduces the pain and confirms what they're suspecting. A huge piece of physical evidence is your range of motion, or ROM for short. It's simply how much a joint can move in any given direction. Is it limited? Is there pain when you move it? The answer gives a massive clue about the health of that joint and all the stuff around it. And this is how detectives can really start to isolate the culprit. During active range of motion, you are the one moving the joint, which tests your muscles and nerves. But during passive range of motion, the clinician moves it for you. Now here's the key takeaway. If there's pain during that passive movement, but not really during the active one, it tells the detective that the muscle is probably fine, and the problem is more likely in the other bits, like the joint capsule or the ligaments. That simple difference is a powerful tool. Okay, so the detective has gathered all the verbal clues and collected the physical evidence. Now it's time for the big reveal, the A and P of soap. This is the assessment and the plan, where all the pieces finally come together to solve the mystery and create a path forward. The assessment is the moment of truth. It's the official diagnosis. After going over all the evidence, the clinician identifies the culprit. They'll make a problem list, things like decreased shoulder flexion or positive test for tendon issues. And with that, the case is officially cracked. But just solving the case isn't enough. Next up is the plan. This is the strategy for bringing the whole situation to a resolution. It's a detailed roadmap for your recovery, and it outlines exactly what treatments will be used, how often you'll do them, and for how long. And a good plan is never vague. It's smart. The goals are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-sensitive. So instead of just saying, let's get better, a SMART goal would sound something like, the patient will achieve 180 degrees of pain-free shoulder flexion in 4 weeks. See? It's an intelligent, actionable strategy. So, there you have it. From a sudden injury to a clear plan for recovery, the SOAP method turns a confusing mystery into a solved case. It shows that the pain and limitations you feel aren't just random, they are clues. Which leaves us with one final question to think about. Your body is constantly sending you signals. Are you listening?